Records. The latest figures for migrants crossing the Channel to reach the UK this year have come in. More than 35,000 have embarked on that journey, surpassing the total for all of 2021 by nearly 7,000 already. So there have been 2,232 crossings recorded in October so far. And on Monday alone, according to the Ministry of Defence, 13 boats were detected carrying some 539 people, taking that provisional total for the year so far to a whopping 35,233. The latest milestone comes as the government faces another legal challenge to its plan to send migrants to Rwanda. Charity Asylum Aid's case is due to be heard at the High Court and their judges later this week after similar challenges were made last month. Deportation flights will remain, of course, obviously on hold while these legal disputes continue. Well, joining me right now is the man himself, is GBNews presenter Nigel Farage. Nigel, thank you very much. We were having a little chat off air there, and you think that as long as this continues, that's it for the Tories?
Done. Gone. You know, the Brexit vote, the red wall majority, above all, was about control of borders. We are now being laughed at by Albanian criminal gangs, posting on TikTok, come to Britain, join the criminal industry, join the drugs trade, and make all this cash. The other one was amazing, was Truss's her only statement since she's been Prime Minister is to give the French a further £50 million. There was a TikTok post I played last night on my show. 8th of October, a boat with 50 men, the French police intercept it. 9th of October, the same 50 men are back on a different boat launching out to sea in broad daylight. Don't give the French any more money. You are wasting your time. You need 20,000 people to police the whole of northern France. It simply can't be done. It's the pull factors. They're coming for the pull factors.
Yep.
And we've talked before about four-star hotels.
This is it.
We've talked about £38 a week spending money, 3 square meals a day, the chance to work in the illegal industry, all of that. And what really took the biscuit was that beautiful hotel in North Cornwall, Camelot Castle, the birthplace of Arthur Pendragon, perched there on the cliffs, surrounded on 3 sides by water, a luxury, beautiful luxury, seaside hotel in a small village at Tintagel, and the owner, John Mappin, offered £1 million. £1 million to fit it up for a year with young men.
Astonishing, isn't it?
Who come from Albania. Now, he turned it down, much to the relief of that community. I'm getting 2 or 3 emails a day from people saying our town has changed.
Absolutely. Well, I'm covering it a little bit later on in the show as well with councillors from Maidenhead, of course, the Royal Borough of Windsor and Maidenhead. They are sick and tired of having these hotels forced upon them, and it is forced at this particular point. But let's just take a little bit of a wider look. If it means that this is it for the Tories, therefore, that would, one would assume, means that people would vote Labour. Well, they're not going to make things any better. This is terrible for the country, isn't it?
No better at all. But here's the point. Taking back control of our borders, reducing immigration numbers, these were all promises the Conservatives made, albeit, if I hadn't been there, they'd never have made them, but they made those promises. And they've been betrayed. And if you've been betrayed, even if the alternative is no better, I'm sorry, somebody has to pay the price for this.
But the people of Britain now, unfortunately, from what you're saying, have to just face up to the sad reality of the fact that people are going to keep coming in record numbers, the taxpayer is going to have to keep paying for them, and when these people are plonked, and it is plonked, in various different towns and cities across the UK, those towns and cities are going to change.
Yeah, they will do, because, I mean, literally, the divide, the cultural divide, the linguistic divide, the attitudes towards women divide, the attitudes towards the gay community divide, you know, and one could go on with a list there as long as your arm. These are unbridgeable at this moment in time. There is one last little hope, just one.
Go on, give it to us.
Well, she's called Suella Braverman.
Oh.
And actually, when she says we should leave the European Convention on Human Rights so that we can send flights to Rwanda, she's right. She's the first senior Conservative to stand up and say those things. Now, we're told that Number 10 is furious. Well, of course it is, because they're the establishment. But if there was to be a public campaign that got behind Suella Braverman and what she's had to say, things might change.
Should we have a referendum on this?
Well, we're not Switzerland. We can't have a referendum on everything.
Let me rephrase it. If there was a referendum, The numbers will be astonishing.
Look, this is one of those issues where 2/3 to 3/4 of the British public strongly believe you should not cross by dinghy and be put up in Camelot Castle on the North Cornish coast with 3 meals a day. Oh, and by the way, not just free medical care, free dental care. How many GBNews viewers can get an NHS dentist these days?
How many GBNews presenters can get a dentist these days? But also, we're talking a lot on this show today because of the nature of what's been going on in the House of Commons about how Britain can save money. I mean, the cost of this is absolutely unbelievable.
Well, we don't know what it is. We're told it's £5 million.
Well, it's got to be going up by the day, surely.
Just for the hotel rooms. But, some of these firms that are outsourcing all of this have been awarded contracts for the next 10 years. 10 years worth billions of pounds. This is completely out of control, but the money is as nothing to the social cost of those communities.
I mean, the only saving grace is that the population of Albania might run out before, actually, these contracts are up. Therefore, we won't have to keep taking...
Oh, once Albania's been trained, it'll be somewhere else, don't worry. I mean, we are Treasure Island.
Yeah.
We are, come on down. Commit crime. Make all this money. We might put you in prison for a couple of weeks. We won't deport anybody. Brexit was passed on a promise. Yes, of course, sovereignty was what that promise was. But the most important subset of that was border control. That's why the turnout was 10% bigger than all the experts thought. That's why we won the referendum. And this was about people ordinary folk, living in communities all over the country, seeing demographic and social change in their towns, cities and villages beyond anything they could ever have contemplated. They now feel betrayed. And unless the Conservatives get a grip on this, aside from economic considerations, they've got no chance, and they will get wiped out at the next election. And you know what? They'll deserve to.
Nigel Farage, thank you very much. As ever, you'll be back on later?
I certainly will, 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, as ever, Nigel Farage there. Right, OK, short statement now from the Ministry of Defence, which says its data was taken from, quotes, live operational systems and was subject to change, including reduction. I mean, that... yeah, good luck with that. It might go down, people. Spoiler alert, it almost definitely won't.